I think one of the main topics, and they actually had like a marketing activation there for this, and something we should probably talk about quite a bit is Reels.
Yeah.
So they were saying that once they launched Reels, they've seen a 24% increase in overall usage of Instagram.
Of Instagram, I mean, which is huge.
That's massive.
Yeah. And the some of the other stats here, the impressions shown to 18 to 24-year-olds are more than double the amount of impressions for non-Reels placements. So, I mean, that 18 to 24-year-old demographic, uh, I think, sometimes we can tend to place these demographics on a pedestal. They come up a lot in statistics, and obviously, we're looking to market across the board for all demographics. But I think the thing is, as you get into demographics with who are older, there's more data available in the data ecosystem. 35, 50-year olds, 50 plus, 65 plus, there's usually, a lot more data just through the way people opt in to, providing their data. And it can be a lot easier to build profiles around some of these older demographics. For these younger generations that, 18 to 24, they're still probably yet to really, you know, um, be able to provide, data points around their purchasing behavior, So, but we're seeing here that on Reels, it's obvious these younger generations don't use Facebook as much. They're getting on Reels, they're sharing stories, even the feeds are not that, that we're seeing more of a move to this vertical video. So Meta wants to compete with TikTok. So it's really important to pay attention to viewing behavior. And as far as ads go, what Meta shared was that Reels are on par in terms of CPA to other placements like feeds. Now, when they ran Reels in addition to a feed setup, they actually saw there was a 6% lower CPC, 18% higher ad delivery to Gen Z, which, okay, is this this demographic we've touched on, 16% lower CPM, and 48% higher video views. So Reels is a very important platform to pay attention to. And I think scrolling vertical video, short form video in general is an area that we would be quite silly to ignore.
Yeah. I think the one stat, I mean, increasing Instagram by 24%, like the usage, I think that was a pretty interesting stat. The other stat that I thought
Yeah.
was really powerful is like 30% of time spent on Instagram is spent in Reels. And
Uh-huh.
if you are a brand or an advertiser, whether you're doing organic or ads, like if you're not taking advantage of Reels, you're like missing 30% of the audience on Instagram.
Right. Yeah. And
And then
it's quite the Reels are there's not as much it's going to be interesting to see the social aspect of Reels. So Reels are shared. Reels and stories are, people are sharing them. Now the news feed is historically it's a very social sharing place. So people sharing photos of their vacations or whatever, or just posting updates for conversation. Talking about the Facebook newsfeed here. Now, Instagram is always going to require some kind of image. You can't create an Instagram post without a video or an image. Facebook, you can. You can just type your post and have some text there. Now, Reels it's all going to be based around even if you upload an image, a static image, you're going to be prompted to put some music behind it and create like this little video, almost like a GIF that you're going to post. So it's predominantly video focused, and it's not really designed to create discussion. It's designed to, you can still share with your friends, with your own followers, but then, that might be shared with other friends, et cetera, et cetera. And, it can be shared through text and WhatsApp. So it's still a very social it's still a very social placement in the meta, in all the meta options. But it's still a different way of interacting from, traditional feeds.
Yeah, and Meta gave like 3 levels of integrating Reels into your advertising. The first was simply flipping that like advantage placements, just so your
Uh-huh.
vertical videos just start showing up within Reels. The
Yeah,
second,
and it's quite interesting. You actually, at the moment, you cannot run separate Facebook Reels campaigns and a separate Reels only campaigns. So it looks like Meta are trying, they're looking to optimize the inventory in both, because it's a very similar experience if you're watching Reels in either Instagram or Facebook, where the feeds are quite different, and stories too. If you're watching, if you're going, scrolling through your stories on Instagram, it's very similar to how you see the stories on Facebook, even with the circles up the top there. So, but we've seen in some accounts that Instagram Reels may be performing better performance wise than on Facebook, but we can't separate them. I think that's going to change. It's like soon there will be a way to target both, possibly.
I don't think so. I mean, I think this gets back to the flexibility thing that they're talking about, like giving Facebook and Meta the flexibility to show what they want or what they deem to be
Right.
likely
True.
success
True.
across these. So the first was turning on advantage placements. The second was basically creating vertical videos that are respectful of like the creative requirements for Reels, which is to
The safe zone.
to have a safe zone. So just an example explainer of the safe zone. When you're designing videos for Reels, you want to make sure that you don't put anything of importance that's going to sit behind the interface. So whether that's the caption on the bottom, the like and share on the side, or the navigation across the top. So you want to make sure all the important stuff happens like right in the middle of the screen. And the other is to make it design it to sound on, because Reels is natively sound on. And then
Right.
the third level of Reels adoption would be to basically make native Reels as ads. So things that are engaging and educational. And if we take TikTok's famous line of "Don't create ads, create TikToks," that's kind of like
Mhm.
the master big gigabrain level of Reels for advertising.
Right. Right. And it's quite interesting to have conversations with clients when they are building a brand, for example, and have a lot of guidelines and directions there around how they're building their brand, and the adaption for this placement and social in general is usually okay. What works on creating what works on paid social, while also retaining integrity to the brand. And as we know, sometimes the most basic, whether it's talking to camera or a video that's just shot on a phone, that just comes across like something that somebody might share with friends, can perform so well. Now, as we're seeing in these vertical video placements, as we see the content creators, there's certain styles of content creation. So a lot of talking to camera with captions, with fast edits, sound effects for edits, really, keeping things to the point, ending videos on a high. There's no room for dragging things out or starting too slowly. So these are the adaptions for creative that here we pay very close attention to, and and we obviously very focused on brand equity, remaining true to the brand. So combining those two, can be a fun challenge.
Agreed. Any other thoughts on Reels before we move on to Measurement 360?
I think yeah, we've touched on Reels there, and I think everybody who's engaged with Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts probably knows how addictive the placements are. The algorithms are very good at finding out what kind of content we like, and leads to a lot of time on the platform. So that's likely where what your customers are doing too.
Yeah, and I'd say just get on Reels sooner than later because the earlier you are, the least expensive it's going to be. Because as more people start to migrate
True.
over, just like
The
everything else,
inventory, yeah,
costs are going to
yeah,
rise.
yeah.